Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a Thursday day live stream. Currently speaking, Bitcoin is sitting at a ripe $82,000 per coin. Yes, you heard that correct. We got rejected aggressively yesterday after, of course, the tariffs went into action. The market is not enjoying it. I will say, however, the crypto market is holding up a lot better than the stock market, likely because crypto market doesn't actually import anything. The NASDAQ is down 4.5% today. Now, if we were to take this sell-off and span it out over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, this would be considered a pretty large-scale correction. A pretty big correction. Just this 4.5% downturn would be something that people actually were taking note of. And it's happening just today. Literally just today. As soon as the NASDAQ bounced off or got rejected by this 200-day moving average, I told y'all we were cooked. We were not in for a fun time. And what happened is exactly as we were expecting. It just continued to get rejected, and we are going in to put in a new low here today. Bitcoin, however, is holding up a little bit better, and we are not yet getting fully rejected, although we did bounce off again the 200-day moving average, just like the NASDAQ did, only a little bit more delayed. I do think Bitcoin's coming down to around $73,000 per coin, unless something noteworthy or something in the fundamentals behind what's happening with interest rates and everything changes here quickly. I think we're going to get a good bleed here. We'll see what actually ends up happening, but we have a lot of things to talk about today, including, is it over? What to do moving forward? I have a strategy or a play, an investment I made, which is actually printing some money right now because of this being anticipated. And of course, I have some non-personalized financial advice for each and every one of you. Good morning, guys. Good morning, MK. Good morning, Morales. Good morning to Reader. Good morning, C90. How's it going, Beagle? What's good, Spec? MK, I have to admit, you're down with the ship captain comment had me cracking up before we went live. That's why I pinned it, so thank you for that. That was a good way to keep it lighthearted, man. Good way to keep it lighthearted, because ultimately, right now, there's not a ton of things that you can do. You just kind of have to chill and wait to see what happens. You should be already positioned appropriately. Now, I know you guys love making money, so the first thing we're going to talk about, good morning, Steven. First thing we're going to talk about is the TLT trade that I have been slowly averaging into and entering into over the last few weeks here. This is something that I brought up a while ago in preparation for what we expected Trump to be doing here with the economy, where he's trying to make the economy come to somewhat of a grinding halt, in which they're trying to get people to be fearful a little bit so that the Fed will lower interest rates so that they can refinance that debt that is due this year, that $9 trillion of debt, that 25 or something percent of the total United States debt. They need to refinance it at a lower interest rate. Otherwise, all of the United States deficit payments will go straight towards interest on the debt, right? And so they need to kind of do something about that before the United States as a country goes bankrupt. And part of that is by getting the Fed to lower interest rates by tanking the market and tanking the economy for a small period of time, right? As soon as these tariffs go away, everything comes roaring back to life. But these tariffs here, everyone, in my opinion, is viewing it as a negotiation strategy with foreign countries. I think it's a scare tactic with Jerome Powell and all of the Fed members, right? I think it's for Trump and Trump's advisory panel to get interest rates to come down. It's my own personal belief there, but the way that I'm going to be profiting off of it and the way that a lot of people in the market are profiting off of it is by going long on TLT. So I bought a few $1,000s worth of call options on TLT. They're leaps, so they're long-term. What does it leap stand for? Long. I guess I could just search it, but they don't expire until January 2026, so next year, because I believe throughout this year they will cut interest rates a little bit, and I believe even just a 1% cut on interest rates will send TLT up well above $100, and that alone is enough to profit off of these leaps, right? We talked about it a bunch, so we don't need to go super in depth with it, but being long on the long end of the yield curve will end up being profitable if they cut rates. TLT is the most responsive to interest rate decisions, meaning if they raise rates, TLT plummets. If they cut rates, TLT skyrockets. And yeah, it's literally as simple as that. So that's my gamble. That's how I'm making some money off of this. TLT does not move aggressively, generally speaking. Like these moves right here that you're seeing that happen is not something that TLT normally does. So when that does happen, option premiums will spike. So right now, today, TLT gapping up in the last couple days, the last week, TLT going from $88 up to $92 is causing some of the premiums on these options to skyrocket, making them more valuable. People will pay more for these contracts. So trying to get in on some of these plays when TLT is not moving. For example, during this period, where it's not volatile, you'll get a volatility constriction or contraction on the option premiums, and they'll become cheaper. They decay. And so I buy some of them, and then when TLT does start moving like it is here, they will start going up in value, even if TLT is not really moving that much. So a little bit of alpha for you guys on how options work there. Shit, where's the delete? There we go. A little bit of alpha on that. So that's the play. Of course, you could short the market, but the market might bounce here and you might end up losing money. The market might do whatever the market's going to do. So you can make more money shorting it, but it's safer just to buy bonds. Shocking, right? It's safer just to kind of scoop up some bonds during this market period, if you believe the Fed will have to cut rates, which is what I think is going to end up happening here. As far as the rest of crypto, Bitcoin dominance just keeps going up because this is the only safe haven or secure crypto bet that people can make. And so people just keep funneling money into Bitcoin if they're going to be exposed to crypto. But yeah, it's shocking. It is shocking. Very few people have probably ever expected to see dominance just be this strong for this long into the cycle. But macroeconomic conditions impact crypto more than the 4-year cycle. And I think that is evidently playing out right here. As far as some of the DeSci news, because I know you guys love decentralized science, we have several things to go over today. Just some noteworthy events that have been happening that I think everyone should pay attention to and just keep updated on, because I know a lot of you guys have bags in these DeSci positions, and for me personally, even if they are selling off, I'm not parting ways with them because I'm more of a long-term investor than an intraday gambler or even a swing trading trader. I have those positions, and those positions I take profits on when I'm up a little bit, and I get into and I scale into, and not all of them go perfectly, but a majority of them will go fairly nicely. These long-term plays are kind of my safe havens where I store some of my money and hope that over the long term they play out. And so Research Hub being one of those, figured it would be worth kind of going over just so everyone can maintain that level of conviction if you guys are holding on to any of those plays. And then let me forget, but I want to talk about the strategy on what to do moving forward, right? With all these Trump tariffs and with the market selling off and all of that stuff, I want to just give that non-personalized financial advice I was talking about. So number one, Research Hub. You can now buy Research Hub directly from our website. 5 clicks. Sponsored gas fees if you use Smart Wallet. Direct deposit Research Coin into your Research Hub account. So they are saying that they will cover the gas fees if you use that link on their website to purchase Research Coin directly through their website using a Smart Wallet. So that's pretty cool. That's a really good onboarding feature because honestly, the people who are going to be using Research Hub don't want to be involved with DeFi or crypto for the most part. They just want to use a product, right? And so adding this feature and simplifying the process of getting involved in crypto is really good, especially for our bags. Now, next one up here was BioProtocol. They are continuing to push forward aggressively. In the last week or so, they've launched a lot of cool features, and so far they have had over 3 million bio locked up in the Bio V1 protocol so far. So lock your bio for pre-sale tokens in new projects, the community governed filter for curating the best biotech in the network, and explore the first projects in Bio V1. So the projects that will be launching on BioProtocol moving forward, like MycoDAO or MysoDAO, I don't know how you pronounce it, but this is a DAO focused on studying mushrooms and mycelium, fungus, This is going to be one of the next projects that launches, along with Spine DAO, for example, and Reflex DAO. And these three DAOs will be launching on the new bioprotocol launchpad, which involves Solana. So they'll be launching on Solana, I believe. Probably Sol and Base, if I had to guess, but I've been so entrenched in working on Bill's tools and Bill's functionality, the AI agent for keeping up to date on decentralized science and other things, that I have not been super responsible with keeping up to date on the actual DeSci underlying, right? The specifics of the things like Bio V1. I know it's there and I know what to do and I'm participating, but the specifics I'm just kind of entrusting to bioprotocol, which is not a good move. So maybe after this live, I might have to go review the actual specifics. That is not something I recommend for people to do. You should know everything there is to know about something if you're going to put your money into it. So thank you, Patrick, for speaking that out loud. Thank you guys for being here to encourage me to speak that out loud, because now my brain has heard it and I have realized my mistake. Even if it is not a mistake that I think will cause financial burden, it is still a mistake nonetheless. So definitely, if you're involved in any of this stuff, pay attention to it as best as you possibly can, especially if you have to lock stuff to get involved with pre-sales and everything. Next one up here, and we're rapid firing these because I want to get back to creating tool sets for Bill as quickly as humanly possible. I also have a proposition for you guys that we'll talk about after I give that non-solicited, non-personalized financial advice after these updates, but remind me, it has to do with Bill. Next up was DeSci World. Scientists need a better way to share knowledge, so we built one. The Knowledge Network is an AI-powered data layer to track, share, and reward knowledge, unveiled in our 3-year anniversary space. So on March 25th, they went live on an X space. I have not listened to it. 583 people tuned in, so that's pretty impressive actually, especially for the given conditions of the market. That's a lot of people to have tuned in for that thing. I'll go ahead and hit that like button, just like you guys should do. Make sure you hit that thumbs up on the live stream. We go live Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Talk about decentralized science and the broader crypto markets. I'm gonna take a sip of my kombucha here because I'm speaking a lot already. Not sponsored, although it should be. Yeah. If you guys are not keeping up to date with DeSci World, they're trying to build a knowledge graph, as they're saying there, but for AI agents and AI protocols in order to prove where the knowledge that these LLMs are being trained on comes from, and then also provide an open structured or an open source structured knowledge base for other agents and other LLMs to be built out on top of as it pertains to DeSci. So I think it's pretty powerful. It's really cool. And I'm excited to see what they're actually able to put forth into the market, because I think that is a really useful thing and honestly pretty novel thing to do here, providing that kind of open access knowledge base, because those knowledge bases are really difficult to deal with, guys. Genuinely, they're not something that's easy to just spin up. And then next up we got Biard, the IP token that is associated with DeSci DAO, I believe. The psychedelic DAO from bioprotocol. Yeah, so this is an admin post, the last call to hack the future of science at AIX Science Hackathon by Biard and Google for Education. So that's pretty cool to see that they partnered, or they at least got in collaboration in some capacity with Google here, Google Education, for this hackathon. So you can win up to 15,000 PLN, I don't know what PLN is, to build game-changing AI tools and collaborate with top experts from Google, University, Clinical Hospital, and Wrocław Medical University. Deadline is April 6th, so if you guys wanted to partake in that, I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat so you guys can check it out if you want to. Crypto Cash says, buy, let's go. Next up, we're rapid firing all these. Molecule, a little bit of a summary, 1 minute and 22 seconds of their proof of invention. It's the newest initiative that they went live with like a couple weeks ago. So can we pause that, please? Thank you. We're gonna go ahead and play this audio here for everyone. And remember, here. We just recently got audio playing capabilities, so let me put these headphones on and listen to the audio with you guys.
Invention is a way for you to anchor your ideas on an immutable public ledger, which is the blockchain. The analogy I think that best describes it is you sending yourself a letter via the post office. So basically, you know what's in your idea, you write it on a piece of paper, you send this to yourself, you get a stamp from the post office, and you basically have some kind of tender that proves on that given day you had that initial idea. And we basically bridge that into the digital age, into the Web3 world, using POI.
How do you register a proof of invention?
It's super easy. You can visit our POI app, and you basically need to connect. The connection will basically create an identity for you, and then you drop in whatever file that describes your idea. You can put a file, code, images, a sketch, anything that you'd like. The cool part about this thing is that you're not disclosing its content. So basically, you're presenting the set of files, we're attaching it to your unique identity. We can prove that you own that file and that the content was there, but you're not disclosing what it describes. And basically that's it. You basically hit a button and anchor the idea on chain and create an immutable record that you can get back to anytime you like.
How much will it cost me to register my idea?
Register ideas is almost free. It costs a fraction of a cent.
Okay, so there you have it. Proof of invention. It is a way to document that you were the person who created such and such idea, right? Give credit to the people where credit is due. I think it'll be a good tool in the future for retroactive funding, i.e. giving money to the people along the way for an idea, from idea generation all the way through idea or product hitting the market, right? That money that gets generated from that will be able to trickle back down to everyone that was involved if they can have some sort of way to prove that everything, or that everyone was involved and with what steps they were involved in. So really cool. I'm a big fan of that. I really like Molecule and Bio and that whole family of companies and what they're doing. Next up was a post from David. It was a KOL, or David. I have never seen David before. I should follow him just like you guys should if you're not already. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. But David here did a post on NEOS. So I thought it was pretty interesting, got a lot of traction. I just wanted to read it real quick for you guys. In case you haven't paid any attention to what NEOS is doing, he's kind of just outlining it very briefly. It's cool to see other people paying attention to decentralized science. So DeSci is rewriting the rules of science just like DeFi did for finance. Some call it the DeFi of science. You can tell this is an AI generated post, but that's still no knock to it. I'm just pointing it out. And if that's the case, NEOS Research is positioning itself as a key player before the space takes off. The problem with science today: slow funding. Yeah, you guys know that one. We talk about that a lot. Great ideas die because researchers can't get grants. Meanwhile, too much research cannot be verified or repeated. Paywalls everywhere. Important studies are locked behind expensive journals. This is very true. This is true. I can confirm. How is NEOS changing the game? AI-powered funding matches researchers with funding sources faster. Decentralized verification ensures research is transparent and reproducible. Why is NEOS undervalued? DeSci is heating up. More funding and projects are shifting to decentralized models. This is also very true. It just takes a long time for that to play out. We know that the researchers right now are willing to wait 18 months or so in order to get funding. And so it's not going to be that surprising for them to kind of vet a new novel way of receiving funding over the span of, let's say, a year, and then receive that funding in, let's say, 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, right? And it still would cut down the amount of time that they waited to receive that funding had they gone with the traditional model, right? So while a year might take a long time in our perspective, it would not for these researchers. And I did almost choke on the kombucha fizz because Beagle, please. You don't need that. Oh, you almost did, yeah. With NEOS public beta officially launching on April 8th, NEOS won't stay under the radar for much longer, according to this KOL. So pretty cool. I love to see more people getting involved in decentralized science. And then we have two more things I want to talk about. The first one is Axon DAO getting closer and closer to shipping the Cure rings. Look at how many of those packages are there at the facility. They are really going crazy and about to really start shipping out these Cure rings to allow for that data aggregation for their platform. So I'm pretty excited to see that, and a real world product make it to the shelves for decentralized science, right? It is an embodiment of that flywheel process that we talk about so often. Even if this is not a drug therapy hitting the market, it is still another stamp of proof of concept, I guess.
I wasn't listening.
Yeah, proof of concept works. Proof of concept for a decentralized science project actually getting something to market. Now, it's also probably interesting. I don't know if that is the stamp on the box said Poland. They're probably in Poland, these objects, so they didn't have to face to the tariffs, but that says the USA. So I don't know, but it makes sense that they would get these in before any tariffs went into play, just to be safe, right? So they're probably back ordering a little bit. The last thing up to talk about from the decentralized science world is a post here that came from MJ. I don't know where it is. It might be over in the Telegram. What the hell? Might be over in the Telegram, but let's go over to Nerd Bunny because I imagine that they are talking about it. A little reminder that Nerd Bunny pre-sale starts April 7th. So in 4 days, the Nerd Bunny pre-sale for buns. I believe it will be on Solana, so just stay in the know. You guys know what Nerd Bunny is. We talk about it pretty frequently. Okay. That is for the DeSci updates. Did you guys have any questions or things that you wanted to cover? One thing I wanted to cover was KongSwap, one of the only things in my entire portfolio continuing to push higher during this market downturn. And that is because KongSwap is effectively creating a monopoly for DeFi on ICP, and thanks to ICP's chain key technology, meaning if you code and create applications inside of ICP's canisters, their version of a smart contract, you can actually interact with blockchains that are not ICP. It is true interoperability where you can, let's say, make a Solana-based application that trades DeFi on Solana that is built on ICP. So you don't have to pay the gas fees, it's quick, it's fast, you can actually make changes directly in the canister. I know I'm getting a little bit technical here, but you know how Uniswap has Uniswap v1, Uniswap v2, Uniswap v3. In ICP, you can actually just deploy those changes directly into the canister without having to go and recreate the entire application with the updates and redeploy a brand new app. It's pretty cool to see that. So that v1, v2, v3, where they have to literally go redeploy an entire app, that doesn't take place in ICP. ICP right now can work with Solana, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and all ERC20 chains, or Ethereum layer 2s as well. So pretty powerful. KongSwap is really actually, they just implemented betting markets for ICP, so poly markets built on ICP, and so you can, in order to partake in that betting markets, you have to lock up Kong, which is causing this bit of a spike here. Plus there's some whales that I know have been accumulating, so that is always bullish. I love to see something in my portfolio doing well. Now we're hitting record highs for the live stream, so might as well give you guys what you are here for. The personalized, I'm just kidding, the non-personalized, generalized financial advice. Basically right now, guys, while the market is selling off, you need to make sure that you have a job. Have some income so that you can continue to accumulate some of these long-term positions and continue to DCA. I know it's not the advice that you were probably looking for, but it is the advice that you needed. You need to make sure that you have that income and that conviction to actually deploy that cash when you see these deals. We're starting to see, whether it's in crypto, you guys know a lot of these altcoins are disgustingly undervalued, especially in my opinion. Even in the stock market now, though, we're starting to see some crazy deals, right? I know we don't talk about stocks all that often, but if you go look, Amazon right now, I know it's a mega cap and it's part of the Mag 7, and we literally just heard Trump's advisor for the tariffs say that if the stocks are selling off, it's a them problem. He literally said it's a Mag 7 problem, not a MAGA problem, which is a crazy response. But nonetheless, you can pick up Amazon shares right now for the same price that they were trading at back in 2021, which is unheard of. Amazon's PE, forward PE, So their price of the company divided by the earnings that the company makes, which is a good valuation metric that people will use. It was 90 back here in 2021, and now it's 30. So we're having a massive valuation compression in a lot of companies in the stock market. While they're continuing to grow and earn more money, their stocks are back at levels that we haven't seen in a very long time. So just a little bit of insight, like, it's probably a good idea to be scooping up some long-term positions in some companies you have conviction in. Whether or not it's Amazon, I don't really care. I'm just saying keep some money and make sure that you have that income. When Bill Nye ETF, let's go, Tuckerin, let's go. I don't know, we have to go talk to lawmakers. We have to go talk to some of the lobbyists, which actually I think we haven't 100% confirmed, like booked the trip, but gonna go down to Florida's capital in a couple of weeks here and go actually talk with some of the lawmakers, some of the people in the Capitol, because it is blockchain day at the Capitol. So might as well take advantage of those open opportunities to convince people that have no idea what any of this industry is, that it's a good industry and that they should legitimize decentralized science. It's always a good opportunity. You expect the bottom in June? I have right now, if I'm being completely honest with you, as far as I'm figuring it, we are in free fall. I don't know what day we'll be bottoming. I don't know when we'll be bottoming. I think we're gonna bottom down here for Bitcoin at least, at the previous high from the last bull run right there that we had, which would represent about a 10% drop from here, which again is not the worst. The worst of its is over, from my opinion, but around a 10% drop from here down here. And I don't know, it might happen in May, it might happen in April. As far as the liquidity is concerned, if Bitcoin's going to track liquidity, the bottom would probably be in sometime during this month in April, but honestly, I have no idea. If we go by the almighty circle that I drew, it wouldn't be until June or July that we end up bottoming over here once we hit that trend line again. But I drew this circle like 4 months ago, so I have no idea. I have literally no idea if that'll hold up. The previous circle, I had to redraw because I had it over here, and that obviously did not play out, and so I've moved it over here as an end of the cycle circle, where I think the end of the cycle, Bitcoin will be somewhere up at 160-ish, 150 to 160 come the end of this year. And then I drew a little secondary bubble just in case everything gets crazy bullish, up at 200,000. So those are my two little price predictions for it. I don't know what will happen between then, but I do think we get that next leg up after this tariff drama is subdued. Okay. Do you guys want to look at any charts? You guys want to ask any questions about DeSci? You guys want any updates about Bill? Anything you guys want to chat about right now? Otherwise, I'm going to be departing a little bit early because I was in a flow state when it comes to developing tools for Bill, and I really want to get back to it. And that brings me into the next topic, actually, that I was going to ask you guys. Can I get ones in the chat if you guys would be interested in a weekly or an every other week type event where for the live stream we worked together on tool sets for Bill and AI agents in general, but specifically Bill. Like, I found some programs that allow for no code or low code creation of tools and automation workflows that you can assign to agents on the back end to use as tool sets for them. And I'm curious if you guys would be interested in like collaboratively building out some of these tools. It would benefit obviously Bill and anyone who's holding on to Bill. It would also benefit everyone involved with learning how some of these AI automations work and how some of these tools actually function, right? You guys could actually involve yourself more so than just waiting for me to do it all, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but all right, we got a couple ones. Yes, for sure. I want to learn about this stuff. Let's go. Okay. All right. Hell yeah. Because then my brain starts roaring, right? At that point, my brain starts going crazy, and it's like, I've been waiting so long for you to ask. Let's go, MK. Because then at that point, I could, for some of these programs where we can do low code, no code options, we could kind of have a vetting process to see who wants to actually help with creating some of these tools, and I can add you into like a group within some of these projects, like assign a project on the tool that creates these tools, or on the software that creates these tools, and then we can all kind of like collaboratively build stuff if we're interested in it. But there would have to be a vetting process so that I know nobody's gonna come in and just delete shit. But we'll start off light here. We'll start off light, okay? And we'll have a little like build together session once a week maybe. I went to Pump Science and there's an option to connect a wallet and check the airdrop. Is it safe? It should be safe, Zaj. They are doing airdrops. People who were holding on to Riff and Euro get airdropped the other project tokens. So I imagine that that's safe, but let's go ahead and check in on Pump Science itself. Pump Science. We know, normally if it was on the website, I would just instinctively say it's safe, but they have had some hacking in the past. Yeah, I would say this is safe. I would say it's reasonable. Funding progress, they are 50% and they are 25% of the way to reaching those next stages of the studies. So that's kind of cool. Play harder, live longer. Love to see it. That's kind of, I'm such a fan of Pump Science and everything that they're doing. I think it's really, really, really cool. Like, this is such a novel thing. And I know everyone always, like, or at least I do, I always say novel way more than I feel like I should, but this is a really unique thing that the world has never seen before. It's kind of crazy. Thanks, Boos. Anytime, Zaj. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Okay, cool. So then I'll start scheduling it out, and then maybe next Thursday or something. What day would be the best for that kind of activity? Next Thursday, we start doing these lives where we build out tools together and we kind of troubleshoot tools. A lot of it's just troubleshooting, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you guys from the front. Like, you can kind of create the structure of a tool pretty quickly, but then when it comes down to actually like hooking everything up and doing all the API calls and endpoints and everything, like a lot of it just ends up being troubleshooting, but it's still cool and it's still very doable. Building the prompts for the LLMs throughout the way are always the most fun part for me, but it's very challenging. You have to think outside the box aggressively to do it. Are the other projects launching? So I don't think any other project on Pump Science is launching until Solana probably breaks above $200 again. I think they're all waiting for Solana to start pushing higher before they have any kind of launch again. They thought it was going to happen here, but then obviously it didn't. We did not get that turnaround in the market, and I think all of the developers for the drugs are waiting patiently for the market to turn before they start launching again. Okay. Mascot design contest time for Quantum Bio. Quantum Bio DAO is having a mascot design competition. That's cool. Oh, the voting closes at 2 p.m. today. Let's see what kind of designs they've had submitted. Oh, accept as an investor. It is in their Discord. Landing. I'm looking in their Discord to see if we can see. To see if I can just see any of the images. I want to see what these mascots look like. This is not correct. It's the wrong one. Okay, well, I wish that they would post the actual images then. Well, now that I'm in that, can you go away? Thank you. Now that I'm in the Discord, maybe it'll just bring it straight to it. I don't even see, they brought it to it and it has no links for them. Maybe they haven't had submissions. That'd be sad. That would be sad. Oh, they have some great submissions, they said. Find all the details and cast your votes in our Discord. They have the Quantum Biology DAO, a Swiss association nonprofit that supports the field of community building. Okay. We're not going to get any votes out of us if it's just going to be annoying like this. See, this is why you can't have the barrier to entry to be so high. I want to see it, but I'm pretty close to giving up on it already. Does anyone else have a link to it? Are any of you guys involved with Quantum Bio DAO? Nope, okay. All right, cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is where we depart, as I want to get back to work ASAP. Yes. Time is your most valuable asset. Hopefully you guys enjoyed spending your time here with me on this live stream. I will see you guys in tomorrow's daily live stream. Stay tuned and make sure you don't get shaken out of the market. And somebody check in on Beagle. Make sure that he does not purchase any rope. All right, peace.